We are told that modern life is smarter, cleaner, and more advanced. That comfort is something we finally perfected. But look around. Clothes trap heat, irritate the skin, and wear out faster than ever. We sweat more, feel tired sooner, and replace garments endlessly. Somehow, with all our technology, we made something worse. Centuries ago, people without machines, without air conditioning, without scientific language understood something we chose to ignore. Medieval people lived closer to reality. Their bodies faced heat, cold, labor, and long days without protection from convenience. They could not afford mistakes. A bad choice in clothing didn't just feel uncomfortable, it drained strength, caused illness, and shortened endurance. So they paid attention. They tested fabrics not in theory, but in life. What failed, disappeared. What worked, stayed. Linen survived because it earned its place. It cooled the body when heat rose. It dried when sweat formed. It protected the skin instead of punishing it. It lasted when everything else broke down. This wasn't fashion. It wasn't nostalgia. It was intelligence born from necessity. What's enraging is not that medieval people knew this. It's that we forgot. We traded proven wisdom for convenience, durability for disposability, and natural balance for synthetic shortcuts. We didn't lose linen because it stopped working. We lost it because we stopped valuing what actually works. And the discomfort we feel today isn't random. It's the echo of a lesson we abandoned. Linen was discovered through reality, not theory. Medieval people did not learn through charts, labels, or promises. They learned through living. Every day placed demands on the body that could not be ignored. Long hours under the sun, heavy physical work, walking on rough ground, and sleeping without modern comfort forced people to notice what truly helped and what made life harder. Fabric was not decoration. It was something that either supported the body or worked against it. When they wore certain cloth, they felt the struggle immediately. Heat built up quickly, sweat stayed trapped, skin became itchy, sore, and irritated. Fatigue came faster, and the day felt longer than it should have. Then there was linen. From the first moments of wearing it, the difference was clear. It felt lighter, calmer on the skin, and easier to move in. Air passed through it instead of being locked in. The body did not feel suffocated. They observed how linen behaved during work. When sweat formed, it did not stay trapped against the skin. The cloth released moisture and dried quickly, allowing the body to cool itself naturally. This made long hours more bearable and reduced exhaustion. Over time, people realized that linen did not fight the body's natural processes. It worked alongside them. They also noticed what happened after the day ended. Skin covered by linen healed better. There were fewer rashes, fewer infections, and less irritation. Linen did not cling when wet or harden as it dried. Even after repeated washing and rough use, it kept its nature. It did not suddenly turn uncomfortable or harmful. This reliability mattered deeply in a world where replacement was difficult. This understanding did not come from a single experience. It came from repetition across years, families, and generations. The same results appeared again and again. Linen consistently made work easier, rest more comfortable, and the body more resilient. Other fabrics that failed to do this slowly disappeared from daily use. Nothing about this process involved theory or explanation. It was simple and honest. If something helped, it was kept. If it caused harm or discomfort, it was abandoned. Linen survived because it earned trust through real outcomes. It did not need claims or praise. Life itself confirmed its value. Linen solved hygiene before science explained it. Medieval people lived in a world where cleanliness was not easy. Water had to be carried, heated, and saved. Bathing every day was not common, and yet people still cared deeply about staying clean because sickness spread quickly. This made clothing far more important than we realize today. What touched the skin for long hours could either protect the body or slowly harm it. They noticed that some fabrics stayed wet for a long time. Sweat would soak in and remain trapped against the skin. When cloth stayed damp, it began to smell, itch, and cause irritation. Over time, this led to sores, infections, and discomfort that made daily life harder. Linen behaved differently. When it became wet, it dried quickly. Moisture did not sit on the skin for hours. This simple difference changed everything. Because linen dried fast, it gave bacteria less time to grow. Even though medieval people did not know the word bacteria, they clearly saw the results. Clothes made from linen stayed fresher. Skin stayed calmer. Bed linens made of linen caused fewer skin problems, especially during illness or injury. That is why linen was trusted for underclothes, sheets, and anything worn close to the body. They also learned that linen was easier to wash and clean. Dirt released from it more easily than from heavier fabrics. After washing, it did not hold smells the same way other cloth did. This meant people could feel clean for longer periods, even with limited washing. Cleanliness was not achieved through perfumes or treatments. It came naturally from the fabric itself. Over time, this created a quiet understanding. Linen protected health in ways people could feel and see. Fewer skin problems, fewer infections, less discomfort during sickness. In a world without modern medicine, these small advantages mattered greatly. Linen became a silent guard, helping people stay healthier without effort. This knowledge was never written as a rule. It was passed down through use and experience. Families chose linen because it worked. Not because it looked better, but because life went more smoothly with it. Cleanliness was not something added later. It was woven into everyday life through linen itself. Linen preserved energy, not just comfort. Medieval life demanded strength every single day. Work was physical, hours were long, and rest was limited. People quickly learned that anything which drained the body made survival harder. Clothing was not just something you wore. It affected how long you could keep going. When heat became trapped and sweat had nowhere to escape, the body tired faster. Muscles felt heavier, breathing became harder, and energy disappeared sooner than it should. They noticed that certain fabrics made work feel twice as difficult. The body overheated, sweat soaked into the cloth, and the skin felt weighed down. This constant heat created quiet exhaustion. People did not describe it as discomfort. They experienced it as weakness. Linen changed that experience. When worn, the body felt less burdened. As sweat formed, linen allowed it to evaporate instead of staying pressed against the skin. This helped the body cool itself naturally. The heart did not have to work as hard to regulate temperature. Over hours of farming, building, or walking, this small difference protected energy. People could work longer without feeling drained. The day felt more manageable, not because the work was easier, but because the body was not fighting the clothes. Linen also stayed light even when damp. Other fabrics grew heavy and stiff when wet, pulling on the body with every movement. Linen remained flexible and breathable. This reduced strain and allowed freer movement. The body conserved strength instead of wasting it on constant resistance. Over time, people recognized a clear pattern. Days felt shorter when linen was worn. Recovery came faster at night. The body did not feel as broken by the end of the day. Linen did not give strength, but it protected it. In a world where survival depended on endurance, this made linen more than comfortable. It made it essential. Linen improved with time instead of wearing out. Medieval people did not expect clothing to be temporary. Making fabric took time, labor, and patience, so what was created needed to last. This made them pay close attention to how materials behaved over months and years. Many fabrics weakened with use, becoming rough, thin, and uncomfortable. Linen surprised them in the opposite way. The more it was worn and washed, the better it became. They noticed that linen did not break down easily. When it got wet, it actually grew stronger instead of weaker. Washing did not ruin it. Hard use did not destroy it. Instead, the fabric slowly softened while keeping its strength. A linen garment did not lose its value with time. It gained it. This made it different from almost everything else they owned. When linen tore or wore thin, it was repaired instead of discarded. Stitching did not ruin the cloth. Each repair added history, not damage. Linen became something familiar and trusted, shaped by years of use. People understood that caring for linen was part of its purpose. It rewarded attention and punished neglect. When looked after, it served for decades. This created a sense of responsibility rather than waste. Clothing was not something to throw away at the first sign of wear. It was something to maintain. Over time, this built a deep respect for the material. Linen taught patience. It taught that good things are meant to age, not expire. In a world where nothing was easily replaced, linen proved that true value is found in what improves with time, not in what stays new for a moment and then fails. Linen worked with climate, not against it. Medieval people did not try to control the weather. They accepted it as part of life and learned how to live within it. Seasons were strong and unpredictable, and the body had to adapt. Clothing played a key role in this balance. Instead of forcing warmth or blocking heat completely, linen helped the body adjust naturally to its surroundings. In hot weather, linen allowed air to move freely across the skin. Heat did not get trapped inside the fabric. Sweat evaporated instead of building up, which helped cool the body without effort. This made summer work more bearable and reduced the risk of heat sickness. Linen did not fight the sun. It helped the body respond to it. In colder weather, linen served a different purpose. Worn close to the skin, it kept moisture away from the body. This mattered because dampness leads to cold faster than air. Linen stayed dry or dried quickly, which protected the body from chills. When layered under heavier clothing, it added comfort without trapping sweat. The body stayed warmer because it stayed dry. People noticed that sudden changes in weather caused fewer problems when linen was worn. Moving from cold mornings to warm afternoons did not shock the body as harshly. Linen adjusted with the body rather than resisting it. This reduced illness caused by temperature changes, which were common and dangerous in those times. Clothing was not used to overpower nature. It was used to cooperate with it. Linen acted as a quiet balance between the body and the environment. By respecting the climate instead of fighting it, medieval people stayed healthier and more stable through changing seasons. Linen protected the skin through experience. Medieval people paid close attention to the skin because any wound or irritation could become dangerous. Without modern medicine, even small problems could turn serious. Over time, they noticed that what touched the skin mattered greatly. Some fabrics rubbed harshly, caused redness, and made healing slower. Linen behaved differently, and this difference did not go unnoticed. They saw that skin covered with linen stayed calmer. The fibers were smooth and did not scrape or irritate wounds. When the body was injured or sensitive, linen reduced friction instead of increasing it. This made movement less painful and allowed the skin to recover more naturally. Because linen breathed well, heat and moisture did not build up around wounds. Linen also helped during sickness. When people were weak or bedridden, linen bedding caused fewer sores and less irritation. Sweat and moisture were released instead of being trapped. This reduced inflammation and discomfort during long periods of rest. People did not need to understand why this worked. They only needed to see the results. Over time, linen became trusted not just for clothing, but for bandages and coverings. It was used where the body needed protection most. The fabric did not interfere with healing. It supported it quietly. Skin problems became less severe, and recovery felt smoother. This knowledge was gained through experience, not instruction. People learned that linen respected the skin. It did not demand endurance or tolerance. It offered relief. In a world where the body was constantly tested, linen became a gentle shield that helped the skin survive and heal. Linen represented long-term intelligence. Medieval people did not buy things often, so they thought carefully before choosing what to own. Resources were limited, and waste was not ignored. Every purchase carried weight. Linen required time and effort to produce, which meant it was not always the cheapest option at the beginning. But people looked beyond the first cost. They paid attention to how long something lasted and how well it served them over time. They noticed that linen garments did not need frequent replacement. Years passed, and the same clothing was still usable, still comfortable, and still strong. While cheaper fabrics wore out, tore easily, or became uncomfortable, linen continued to serve. This made it clear that paying more once was wiser than paying less again and again. Repairing linen was also easier and more worthwhile. Fixing a tear did not weaken the fabric. Patching did not reduce its usefulness. Each repair extended its life without changing its quality. This made linen a smart choice for families, especially when clothing was shared or passed down. Value was not measured by how new something looked. It was measured by how dependable it was. A garment that lasted for decades earned respect. Linen fit into a mindset where ownership meant responsibility, not convenience. People took care of what they had because replacing it was not simple. Over time, linen came to represent good judgment. It was not luxury for display, it was intelligence in material form. In a world where survival depended on wise choices, linen proved that true value is found in endurance, not in low price or quick satisfaction. Linen reflected a philosophy we abandoned. Medieval people did not expect everything to look perfect. Life itself was not perfect, so their materials did not need to pretend to be. It showed folds, creases, and signs of use. This was not seen as a flaw. It was seen as proof that the fabric was real and alive with history. As linen aged, it carried memory. Each wash softened it. Each repair marked a moment in time. The cloth changed with the person who wore it. It did not stay frozen or artificial. This created a quiet bond between people and what they owned. Linen was not something to impress others. It was something to live in. People valued function over appearance. If a garment worked well, kept the body comfortable, and lasted for years, it was respected. Smoothness and shine were not the goal. Honesty was. Linen showed effort, care, and use, and that made it meaningful. This mindset shaped how people lived. They were not chasing constant newness. They accepted wear as part of life. Things were allowed to age because people were allowed to age. Linen fit into a worldview that respected time instead of fighting it. When modern life rejected wrinkles, repairs, and aging, it also rejected this philosophy. Linen reminds us of a slower, more intentional way of living, where usefulness mattered more than appearance, and endurance mattered more than novelty.